is Aaron Weir of Vibrant Performance here, giving you an explanation of how I fabricated a rear end into the turbo rear-wheel drive CRX. So this is the Nissan S14 rear end. This is the entire subframe, stock diff with Viscous type LSD. Now you can see I've cut the entire trunk out. This is normally where the spare tire would sit inside the trunk. That's all been completely removed. And then I built a cross member here that's welded into the unibody rails. And then there's also, I had to make actually arches that go over the control arms for the wheel wells to allow room for the control arms, drive shafts. This is just 2x2 square tubing. I've added gussets in here. Then the plate on the bottom of the trunk is just 16 gauge sheet metal. There's also a cross member that runs along the rear of the trunk right at the bottom. And then there's also a cross member that runs ahead of the rear subframe, just up here, right where the rear seat would normally be. So it's all been boxed in, everything's welded completely. It's not stitch welded, it's actually welded all along this seam here. And then I've gone over all the seams with silicone and then underbody spray. Now my biggest concern when I was putting the S14 rear end in this car was getting it straight, square, and aimed in the right direction. Now I really got kind of lucky with choosing this rear subframe. There's 4 mounting points. There's 2 on the rear and there's 2 on the front, which are further up here. Now where these 2 front ones line up, the original CRX pivot bushing would normally live in this general location. Now I actually got lucky. I was able to make 2 plates that I could add make the holes for the pivot bushing in these plates, and then also add the third hole, which would be the mounting bushing for the rear subframe. The holes were kind of close, but I just basically made an adapter plate and then made 2 mirror image of each other. That way I knew that the rear end was going to be square, straight, and also located properly, placing the wheels where I wanted them in the fenders. The only thing I really had to worry about was the pitch, to figure out which angle I needed the rear end to be at. And it actually turned out I got lucky again, because adding this 2-inch square tube cross member between the unibody, it actually just lined up. You know, placing it this way front to back was not an issue. I could place it anywhere I needed it to be. So I just basically made the front plates first, and then that placed the rear end, located it, made sure it was all straight and everything, and all I had to do was orient the pitch this way. So that's what this cross member here does. So there's threaded sleeves inside above these mounting points. This is a 7/8 stainless steel threaded rod that acts as a stud, and then there's a nut that holds it all together. These are polyurethane bushings on the rears, and on the fronts polyurethane as well, and the same 7/8 size rods, threaded rod. Now you can see there's no coilovers anywhere to be seen here. What I've done is, this is the OEM pickup point for the S14 rear strut. I've added a push rod that goes through the strut tower and then is tied to a rocker arm that goes to my cantilever rear suspension. Stay tuned for the next video, where I will explain the cantilever suspension setup found in the trunk.